We are live on YouTube. This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John DiNallo, and the one and only Karen Hay.
Oh, and that's my cue.
That's your cue.
That's my cue. Hey, everybody, that's right. It is What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news show. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. This is everybody's favorite podcast, of course, because
Absolutely.
yeah, you come here for strange news, not the politics and the business and the all the other bad stuff that's going on in the world. Come here to have some fun. Who do you have fun with? You have fun with me. I'm your host, Paul Seaburn. I'm the editor and head writer at Mysterious Universe. You have fun with Karen Hale. She's the media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, our platform. Go visit newclevelandradio.net. You find out how to download us. Find us on YouTube. And I mentioned that because I've got a lot of photos today that I'll be talking about. So if you're listening to us, it's always worth it to take a quick look over at YouTube and check out the photos. And then, of course, John DiNallo, host of What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo. John, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Paul and Karen, and looking forward to another great show.
Another great show. That's right. Well, you're a key element of that, John, as always. So we've got. I want to do a couple of shout outs. You know, we missed a few weeks, so. Our hardcore fans are so thrilled that we're back. I heard from Brian, and I also heard from Mark down in Austin. So thank you guys for hanging in there, and hope you enjoy the show today. Mark sent a Cleveland story that wasn't weird enough. It didn't make the cut. So I send him an email so he won't be disappointed. You know, because our hardcore listeners just get so wrapped up in these stories. They just love them so much. We hope everybody else does too. We're really looking forward to building our base. And like I said, go to newclevelandradio.net. Check us out there. Check out some of the other podcasts that Karen has. They're interesting, insightful. Nowhere near as funny as What in the World, but that's why we're there.
Nothing is as funny as you.
There we go. And we'll be, as a matter of fact, we'll be talking about that and some interesting developments in the world of humor as it pertains to strange news. Figure that out. Okay, so here we go with a preview of what you're going to hear in the next hour. A 10-foot werewolf has been seen in Ohio. 10-foot werewolf. We had 10-foot aliens last week. 10-foot werewolves this week. We had chupacabras last week. We had chupacabras this week. A chupacabra warning from the government of Texas. Like they have nothing else. Yeah, nothing else to worry about. The latest Loch Ness monster photo. John, I know you'll be looking forward to seeing this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I also have photos of the chupacabra and the werewolf. So like I said, this is a big photo day for those of you who are listening. Plastic surgery for dummies. We're going to talk a little bit about that. A place for Cheez-Its fans in California. If you're a fan of the little snack Cheez-Its, I've got a great story for you there. The best place to be a swan in the world and the worst place to be a chicken. So, we draw all kinds of listeners on this show. So bird lovers and birds as well. Some more odd news. We got some world records. John's got a great sport for us this week, and then we play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the Co-host. So we got so much to go on. Let's get right to it with our story from Ohio. Your host all live in the Northeast Ohio area, south of Cleveland, and so we love stories from Ohio. And this one is from Dayton, from the Dayton area. So in case you live in Cleveland and you're worried about a 10-foot werewolf, it's in Dayton. For now.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so as I said, last week we were talking about the 10-foot aliens in Las Vegas. This week it's actually a 9.5-foot werewolf in Dayton. So a woman in Dayton is getting calls because of this 9.5-foot werewolf that people are seeing in her yard. And she refuses to do anything about it because she says it's better than having a guard dog. So let me put up a photo for you, because I know you guys want to see what this 9.5 foot werewolf looks like. So there it is right there. 9.5 foot
Oh,
werewolf. Yeah, pretty scary, isn't it?
patriotic too.
Yeah, it looks very imposing.
Very imposing. Yes, very plastic. For those of you who are wondering if it's real or not, it's definitely one of those things that you put up at Halloween, which is what she did. She said that she put it up at Halloween, and she liked it so much that she just left it up for the rest of the year, kind of like John does with his Christmas lights. So
Not giving you away your secrets, Paul.
the neighbors are calling the police, and the police refuse to do anything about it because A, they don't have a silver bullet that big, and B, they they don't have enough garlic to wear around their necks to protect them from this werewolf. So yeah, it's not real. It's, for those of you who can't see it, it's at least patriotic. It's wearing a flag shirt and holding a flag. So it looks like she may have had it out for Flag Day. A couple of flags, as a matter of fact. Along with the skeleton of what looks like it might be a squirrel that it caught. So, this is a weird thing all the way around. She named him Phil, which some of her neighbors say is short for "filled my pants when I saw it." It has its own Facebook page, so if you want to look it up, I think it's called Phil the Werewolf. Its birthday is Halloween. If you look up it on Facebook page, you'll find out its birthday is Halloween. Its favorite actor is Lon Chaney Jr., not surprising. Wears a flag but has no preference for political parties. It likes to be a lone wolf. So
that was good.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good, Paul.
Get ready. We got a show full of them here. Okay, so that's our wolf down in Dayton. Now we go to England for the plastic surgery for dummies story. So this is you'll figure out real fast what we're talking about here. Alison Gunn Robeson is the lady's name. She bought a battered ventriloquist dummy made in 1898 to the host of a TV show on the BBC called The Repair Shop. So let me give you a photo here of what the dummy looks like. Why I said she needs plastic surgery for dummies. So you can see, obviously it's an old, if you watch America's Got Talent, you'll never see anything as gross as this dummy. It's old, right, John?
Yeah, that's right, Paul.
It's the old style with the wooden dummy. The eyelids go up and down and the mouth moves. That's pretty much about all you get out of this dummy. But it's beat up. Its hair looks messy. It just looks awful. So she took it to this place called the Repair Shop. It's one of these home improvement for dummies shows, and asked them if they could fix it for her. And what happened was that they did fix it, but before that happened, they got all kind of complaints from viewers that the doll was creeping them out. A lot of people don't like dolls in general. Some of these dolls look like they're possessed. This one certainly looks like it's possessed by a slob, but nonetheless possessed. Didn't bother the repair guys. So here's the dummy as it was put back together and painted up and combed his hair and fixed the paint on his face. So what do you say? Does that look less creepy than the original?
I would
Not
say
much.
You don't think so, Karen? I think it's better. Significantly better, I don't know, but it's better. Put it in that
better. Okay. Look like anybody you know, just out of curiosity?
Thankfully, no.
All right. So the lady thought it looked so good that she wants to appear on a new competition show in England. It's similar to one of the ones in the United States, except this one is for puppets only, and it's called A Mannequin's Got Talent. Mannequin's Got Talent. There you go.
Catchy. Yeah. Kind of a catchy title, Paul.
She says, I love for my dear friend down in Texas from England. He'll appreciate this, as will his wife, text chick. When the lady brought the dummy to the show, they asked her what was wrong, and I want to quote. She says, "All his workings has gone a little bit whatsity, very British term for whatever that means. I think I know what it means because my doctor said it to me when I went back for my checkup. Everything looked a little bit whatsity. So I didn't, I've been involved in the ventriloquism business for some time. When I was a comedy writer, I worked for a number of ventriloquists, and I learned that a lot of people look down on ventriloquism, and I wasn't sure why. And so I did a little bit of research. Originally, ventriloquism was a religious practice. A lot of churches, including the Catholic Church, apparently, the name ventriloquism comes from the Latin word which means to speak from the stomach. Venter means belly, and loci means speak. I do that all the time, usually after Mexican food.
You're not alone in that, Paul.
Yeah. So, but it's related to the stomach, John. The Greeks called it gastromancy, which sounds a little more scary. The noises produced by the stomach were get a load of this. This is why the church was scared. They thought that the noises produced by the stomach were the voices of the undead who took up residence in the stomach of the ventriloquist. Then the ventriloquist would interpret the sounds as they were thought to be able to speak to the dead. So the ventriloquist thought, which were bragged that they could speak to the dead, as well as foretell the future. So I'm thinking, there's nothing so bad about that. I think that, being a Catholic, I think priests should become ventriloquists. I think it'd be a lot more fun to go to confession, where I tell my sins to the priest, and then the dummy, he figures out what I did wrong and what my penance should be. What do you think, John? Would that be popular?
You know what, Paul? I don't know. I'm not intentionally big on this one, but I don't know. It's hard to call. It's
hard to call. Yeah.
I'll
let you bring it up to your pastor first.
Okay. I'll see what kind of response I get. Okay.
All right. So now we go to Karen. Karen's favorite subject, chupacabras.
Oh, chupacabra.
Yeah. So we talked about. We had a photo last week of a chupacabra in Bolivia in a field that was taken by a drone, and John pretty much hit the nail on the head, that it was far too blurry and pixelated to look like anything that we could believe in. So then there was one in Guatemala. So this just happened last week, where a woman found 75 chickens that were the chickens, ducks, and turkeys in a 25-mile radius around her farm that had been attacked from behind and had their blood drained from their bodies. Yeah, I know. This is called the Guatemalan KFC, killed frightened chickens. But so they don't know what to do. I said, put up a big sign telling the chupacabra that a vegan diet is much better than poultry. But what I thought was interesting was that Texas A&M down in College Station, just north of Houston, has done research on the chupacabra. Believe it or not. Now, here's a Texas chupacabra for you to take a look at there. So this is the head of a chupacabra, according to the person who found it. And this comes from WXAN in Austin, Texas, which is saying that the government is warning people to be on the lookout for chupacabras this summer, apparently because of the heat. So this is the head of a chupacabra. This was found in August of 2007 in Cuero, Texas. I'm not sure where that's at. What do you say? Did that look like a chupacabra or something else? Karen, you're the chupacabra person.
Well, it looks like a cross between a boar's head and something else. I don't know.
Kind of doggish.
Yeah.
The tongue looks a little doggish, and the canine tooth. John, what do you say about that?
Yeah, it looks more doggish, to Karen's point, like a boar, maybe a cross between a dog and a boar.
Dog and a boar, yeah, okay. So Texas A&M, 2017, they did a study, the AgriLife Extension, did extensive research on the subject and the most likely explanation for the sightings of the chupacabra. Now, we always talk about the classic chupacabra. This is the classic chupacabra. This is the kind that people report seeing in Puerto Rico. I apologize for the fact that its rear end is pointing to the camera.
Yes, it is.
But you get the general idea. It has it spikes on the back. It can stand up and walk on 2 legs rather than 4. Has dog-like features, dog-like teeth, pointy tail, but more of a leathery skin than fur. So there's your classic chupacabra.
Okay.
The Texas chupacabra looks more like this. Now, there's a photo of that someone sent to Texas A&M and said, "I think this is a chupacabra. What do you think it is?" And they took a look at it and they said it's a coyote with mange, which is a skin disease that causes your hair to fall out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
the Texas government, they get these calls all the time. So they issued a statement to the WXAN reported on saying, if you see something like this, report it to the police or report it to wildlife. Don't touch it, because if you touch it, you could get what they have.
Ooh.
Yeah. So they said, consider if you touch it, you should consider bathing. Not definitely bathe, but consider bathing.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a pretty mangy looking creature to me. And
it sure is. I know, it's scary. You
really,
don't turn into a chupacabra though. Yeah, I'm not sure
it really looks like a coyote to me.
Coyote, yeah, it does look like a coyote. That's the prevailing theory in Texas, is that because of the heat, we were just talking about this before the show. It's so hot, it's in the triple digits in both Houston and Dallas. I don't know about Austin. So these animals their immune systems are low, just like in humans. They're more susceptible to diseases, and mange is a pretty common disease. So, okay, all right. Well, we won't talk about that anymore. Let's go to Scotland, and if we're in Scotland, we're looking for the Loch Ness monster. So this comes from Ishan Camel, is the guy's name. He's a pharmacist from France. He and his wife, Elian, not Elaine, but Elian, were visiting Loch Ness, and they spotted a 65-foot long Loch Ness monster. And John, I know you want to see a photo. So there's the photo of a 65-foot long Loch Ness monster in the lake. Let me give you some details. It was just below the surface of the water, big long shadow there. They said that it stayed there for several minutes. They took pictures, the 3 of which they submitted to the Loch Ness Monster Registration Service. This was the best one. So what do you think, John? What does that look like to you?
I mean, it's obviously a shadow of something, but I have to say, honestly, that it's hard to determine if it's the Loch Ness Monster. I mean, I'd like to believe that it is, and it may be.
Well, okay. We know it's Loch Ness, so it's the Loch Ness something.
Okay.
How's that?
But to really pinpoint it and really identify it as what I perceive as being the Loch Ness Monster, I have to be at the center on this one. I'm sorry.
So no head, no tail, no humps. It's pretty much all we have is the shadow. It looks a little to me. We have no perspective, which is bad. It almost looks like it's a little boat, and that's a wake behind it. But they swore it wasn't a boat; it was stationary. So I don't know what it is. I agree. It's too little to determine that this is the actual Loch Ness monster. These guys, they're from France. So the first thing they said was, it's a giant snail. Of course. They were looking for butter.
Oh, now wait a minute. Wouldn't it stand to reason, though, if they saw this shadow or this creature in the lake, couldn't they stay a little longer and see if it would surface and then try to take a photo.
I'm
I don't
good.
know.
Good observation, John. Maybe they were scared.
Could be,
Maybe
yeah, sure.
they were hungry. I don't.
Yeah, right.
It's hard to say without that's as much as they gave in their interview to
Right.
the registry.
Well, maybe this will be a story to be continued, Paul and Karen. Maybe.
Yeah. Now they said they watched it. It was visible. They watched it for a number of minutes. So the guy he said he was French, so he got an eyeful of the Loch Ness monster, an eyeful of the Loch Ness monster. We'll just keep on going after that one.
Yeah, I think so.
So today's feel-good story. This is for this. I posted this one on Facebook and it was so popular. I wanted to talk about it. This is our feel-good story for the day. Couple who spent their honeymoon night at the old Mulebach Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri. It's no longer the old Mulebach Hotel. It was purchased by Marriott, I believe. But they stayed there 40 years ago. And they're going through, it was their 40th anniversary. They're going through their wedding album and they found a coupon. There's your coupon right there. The lifetime honeymoon certificate, which says that the bearer can use it in any year on the month of their wedding anniversary to stay at the hotel at the same price as their wedding night. And you can see on this coupon, they were there on June 25th, 1983. They paid $38 a night. So they called them up. They're now owned by the Marriott in Kansas City. The Marriott said, yes, we will honor your coupon.
Good.
Yeah, pretty nice. Now, room costs far more than that now. So they took the money, a big sizable amount of money that they saved, and they bought a bag of peanuts out at a mini bar, and that was it. That's all they had. One of my readers on Facebook said, "Oh, that's not true," and I said, "Okay, they got a Coke too," and then they were out of money.
Okay.
Those mini bars, I can't believe that people still buy stuff out of mini bars. That for as much as you can call and have Uber deliver something, a bag of peanuts, and it'll cost you less than it would if you buy it out of a hotel minibar.
You are right.
Yeah.
I guess, Paul, I think people are paying for convenience, obviously, right? I mean,
well, I suppose, yeah. If you can't wait 10 minutes or walk down to the
front desk
shop. So this was a good idea. They saved the certificate. We don't have coupons anymore. I go looking for coupons. Tells you how old we are. I go looking for coupons in the newspaper and clip them out. The lovely Donna is more high tech than me. She has them on her phone.
Yep.
Yeah. Karen, I'm sure that's what you do.
Sure. Yeah, my wife does the same. My wife has coupons on her phone. Yes.
On her phone. So people still save coupons. They just don't cut them out of the newspaper like
You're right. Yep.
What about lifetime warranties? Do you have a file at home for lifetime warranties?
Wow, that's something of the past, I think.
We have a file.
It's a good idea. Jay Leno used to do a joke about his parents. His father saved Jay Leno's a multi-millionaire. And he said he goes home one day to Boston and he notices that the toilet is broken in the guest room. His father didn't notice. He said, "Dad, your toilet's broken in the toilet seat. I'll go get you a new one." No. I got a lifetime warranty on that. And sure enough, he had a file and he went back and he pulled it out. And he said, "I'm not going with you. I'll be too embarrassed. Here I am, a millionaire. And my father's taking a coupon to go get a toilet seat because he's got a lifetime guarantee on it." That was unbelievable. Okay. Here's another one from Facebook here. This was hot off the press today. We love talking about food on What in the World. So this is another one. I've got a photo of it because you're not going to believe, and John, especially you're not going to believe it when you see it. This is a hot new menu item from Pizza Hut, but not Pizza Hut in the United States. Pizza Hut in Japan. It's the coffee, whipped cream, and sausage pizza.
Oh, no.
What
Yeah.
what a horrible combination that
Oh
is.
my
There you
God.
go, right there. Coffee, whipped cream, and sausage. They call it the Wiener Coffee Pizza. The, translations do weird things for sausage, but it's the Wiener Coffee Pizza. It's made by covering a regular crust with coffee sauce instead of pizza sauce.
Ugh.
Replace it gets worse. Replacing the mozzarella cheese with cream cheese, then covering it with sausage pieces, and then scooping gobs of whipped cream all over it.
That's a tough one. Paul and Karen, an audience, that's a tough one.
There you go.
I'm
John,
not having it.
well, I'll tell you what, if you eat one and you can hold it down for 30 minutes, it's free. So you might want to try it.
No.
Oh boy. I'm gonna pass.
That may be what the Japanese words say up there. They call it kind of like a hot coffee flavored cheesecake. Right. A hot coffee flavored cheesecake that you actually dropped into a pot of spaghetti.
But you have sausage on it. Like that's
Yeah, I know. The sausage, they try to compensate. If you look at the picture, the sausage is actually ringing the around the outside of the
oh, I see that.
out
Yeah.
of the
What I
pizza.
think
Yeah,
though, I think
yeah.
this
So it's like
this brings- Go
yeah,
ahead.
it's a combination of your main course and your dessert. Still not appealing.
Okay.
no, to me, it just brings too many collisions of taste,
Yeah.
I would say.
It's people like this kind of stuff, combining the main course and dessert. I was at Dairy Queen the other day, and the person in front of me ordered a hamburger, and then they had it whipped into a blizzard. So
Oh.
No, you're not serious, are you?
no, I'm not serious. But-
Good. You've restored my faith in mankind, Paul.
I don't
Thank
think Dairy Queen. They'd probably be too upset. It's against the bylaws of the Queen.
Probably. Yep.
All right, so let's take that disgusting photo down there, and let's talk a little bit about a couple of stories that don't have photos. So this one comes from Germany. Oh, this is very pertinent to our show. These two German researchers published a new paper using Chat GPT, the big chat bot that everybody's worried about, artificial intelligence. They used it to understand and generate humor. So they actually tried to ask Chat GPT to write jokes. And what they found was not only was the comedy bad, but it generated the same 25 jokes over and over again. And most of the jokes were worse than the ones you find in joke books. So this is proof that we don't use Chat GPT at all, because our jokes are better than that sort of thing, right?
I would say so,
Absolutely.
yes. I would say so.
I'm hoping. They put it in a robot. They put it into a comedian robot, and the first thing the robot said was, "Pull my mechanical finger." So that's how bad.
Oh,
So we're definitely not artificial intelligence. We use all new jokes. In fact, we have no intelligence at all. That's artificial or otherwise. So you don't have to worry about anything like that on our show. Now, this was from speaking of artificial intelligence. So second time in a month, a tourist in Hawaii at the Honohokoa small boat harbor drove off the pier because their GPS told them to. This is the second time this has happened in a month. The local GPS is messed up, and it's telling people to drive off a pier. Luckily, no one was hurt. Both the cars were rescued. The investigators managed to piece it together, and they listened to the GPS, and the GPS said in a male voice, "Trust me, I know a shortcut." So, use a female GPS, I guess, is the rule there. Now, I still trust maps. I don't know about you, but I still like to use a map to figure out where I'm going to be going before I go, rather than, spur of the moment listening to the GPS as I drive. And it also forces me, if I'm lost, I can pull over, open up the map, unfold it. I know if I'm awake, because if I can fold the map back together, that proof that I'm still good shape.
Yep.
Have you have any maps left?
Well-
Do you have a map in your car, not other than the GPS?
I do. As a matter of fact, Annette and I, when we took a trip down to Florida a couple of months ago, we went to the AAA in our area, and we got the map, and we got the triptych, believe it or not, which we used to swear by years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that helped us a lot, as a matter of fact. So yeah, I'm kind of of that same thought, Paul, for sure.
I know. I feel sorry for AAA. You know, people don't even go in there anymore. You know, it was always packed with people like John getting ready to go on a trip. Get your trip kit, get your maps.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, there's no maps in gas stations anymore either.
Nope.
You know, I'm looking for a map in a gas station. There is no such thing. They look at you like you're from another planet. You know, what do? If you want to go on a long trip and you don't have a map, you don't have AAA, what do? You take a globe with you? You know, can you drive with a globe in your lap, spinning it around? Is this Florida or is this Texas? I'm not sure.
You gotta have the map. You gotta have the map.
Gotta have the map, you know. GPS, and here's another reason not to trust the GPS. I looked this up. It's a government program. It was originally formed by the U.S. government in 1973. The government asked the Department of Defense to come up with some sort of satellite global positioning system, a mapping system, and took them till 1978 to develop it. And there's only 24 satellites that run the whole thing, and they became fully functional in 1993. And then slowly but surely they allowed the rest of us to use it. Today, this is what amazes me. The GPS that we all use in our car is run by the United States Space Force, not the government, not the Pentagon, by the Space Force. I
didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think if it's the Space Force, what they should do is they should use Mr. Spock's voice. And when you decide that you're not going to follow the what the Mr. Spock tells you to do, the first thing it says is that that's illogical, John. You know.
I can understand that. I understand.
Yeah, I did. You know, especially if it's Mr. Spock. You know.
Sure.
So this one comes from Australia. Another example of comedy becoming reality. A dairy producer in Australia likes to feed his cows sugar for energy. That's what he says. So now he's giving them a chocolate, which is discarded from the Cadbury factory down the street. So if they can't use the chocolate for anything, he buys it from them or takes it off their hands. I don't know how he does it. And he gives it to his cows. He gives them blocks of chocolate, bars, pieces, nougat. Doesn't turn the milk chocolatey, but one of the cows broke into the neighbor's yard and started eating the mint and laid some peppermint patties. So, oh, you like that one?
Oh,
Wait,
that was so good.
Another cow from the same farm, after eating the chocolate, went and ate some pussy willows and came up with Kit Kats. Then,
oh boy,
I know, but don't worry, they get better, maybe. He fed them some more chocolate, and one of them ate a glove, and he got Butterfingers.
Oh,
they are getting better. They are getting better.
Okay, here's one more. Then he fed another one some chocolate, and then it ate a scale, and he got a Milky Way. Oh, where's my rim
okay.
shot?
Where's the horn? Where's the horn
Yeah.
for all of these?
I don't know. Can you hear the horn? Let's see. Let's try the horn.
Nope.
No.
I'm honking a horn here, and
It used to work.
It's going to have to go back to the repair shop, Paul.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a coupon. Maybe you have a coupon when you take it back to the hardware store.
Good one.
You know, I just might have one. That's right. Wow. Okay, so this, speaking of coupons, not it isn't speaking of coupons at all. Let's check our time here. This one comes from Slovakia, my home country, my ancestors' home country. So this is news from Slovakia. Farmers from the village of Patince, I'm not sure where that is, they're asking for help. What are they asking for help for? let's take a look at a photo here, and I'll tell you, not for the pizza, but for these. Oh, there's another picture. I didn't realize I had two pictures of the pizza, just to make you doubly sick.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not. Oh, I guess I don't have a picture of the swan. So this is what the problem that this guy has, these farmers have, is that their swans are getting stoned because they're eating poppies from the poppy fields. So they're going through the poppy fields and they're eating the big balls on the top where the flowers are, and they become stoned. And then stoned swans apparently get very aggressive, and the problem is that the farmers can't do anything about it because swans are protected by the Slovakian government as a protected species. I don't know if they're rare or if they, the president likes them for roast swan. I'm not sure, but they can't do anything about the swan. So they don't know what to do. They're asking for people for help. I don't know if you remember this, John, but we saw stone swans open for flock of seagulls back when we were in college.
I forgot about that. Now it comes back to me now that you brought that to my attention. Wow.
Don't get they didn't come around till 1990. So
well, not many people would know that. I mean, so anyway, we're trying to get that one through under the radar screen.
There you go. I don't want to get angry emails from people watching us on YouTube and saying you didn't go to see like a seagull.
Well, we could have.
However, I did see the birds, and when they heard the story about stone swans, they started to have flashbacks. So it could be. Also, the stone swans gave the local ballet company an idea for a revision of Swan Lake. So look for that. That could be.
Okay. All right. Sure.
Yeah. So there was I lost my photo here. Maybe it's in here somewhere. What happened to? Oh, there it is. I went too far ahead here. So this story comes from California. The Cheez-Its. John, you like Cheez-Its? Those little.
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, the original, I think they have flavored or different flavored ones or whatever. The originals are very good, very good.
I looked them up. They even have whole wheat. So if you want to pretend to be healthy, you can eat whole wheat Cheez-Its.
Whole wheat Cheez-It.
That's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? Like healthy Cheez-It.
I know. It is, yeah. So speaking of oxys and moron, so once a year, Kellogg, which owns Cheez-It, takes a gas station in California by Joshua Tree National Park. And let me show you what they do with it. They turn it into pizza. No, they turn it into the Cheez-It stop. This is a Cheez-It themed rest stop at Joshua Tree National Park. Nothing but Cheez-Its all the way through. It's on the 29 Palms Highway. It's the biggest, cheesiest roadside attraction to ever grace America's beloved highways and byways, according to the ad. Now, so this lady is standing in front. There's a giant. This is the inside. You can get Hawaiian shirts with Cheez-Its all over them.
Oh my God!
Hats, all different flavors of Cheez-It. Cheez-It mugs for whatever you drink when you're eating your Cheez-Its. Nothing but Cheez-It, which, if you let your kid pack their lunch, that's probably what they have, is nothing but Cheez-It. But this is the world's, now this is the best part. This is outside. Okay, so that looks like a gas pump, but that is actually the world's first and only Cheez-It pump, and it pumps bags of Cheez-Its out the nozzle. And for this lady, she's getting it into her Cheez-It bag that she just bought in the store.
Wow.
They will shoot bags of Cheez-Its into your car. Of course, charging you, $1 a gallon or whatever, however you charge for a fill-up of Cheez-Its. Yeah. And, it could be dangerous. I was just looking at, if you remember, Cheez-Its have very sharp corners here. So you got to be, if that thing shoots it out too hard, it could do some damage. Put your eye out. So I did some research on Cheez-Its, of course. They were introduced in 1921, and you'll love it. They come from Ohio. The 1921, the Green and Green Company, a manufacturer of snack crackers in Dayton. We're back in Dayton again. They market them with the tagline "A baked rarebit," to make them sound like they're something fancy. Sunshine Biscuits bought them in 1932. Sunshine Biscuits was bought by Keebler in 1996. Keebler was bought by Kellogg in 2001. That's why Kellogg has it. They're not square. You may think they're square, but they're actually 26 by 24 millimeters, or 1 inch by 0.94 inches. So they're just barely a rectangle.
Okay.
Yeah, how about that? So if you're looking for it next year, if you're traveling in Joshua Tree National Park, it's in June that they have it. And right next door is a car wash that specializes in washing cheese dust off of cars. So if you get too close.
Boy, stands the reason. That stands the reason.
Oh yeah, John. And what we would do, of course, is you roll down the window about an inch and you stick your fingers out to wash all that orange stuff off your fingers.
Cheez-It is another one of those snacks like Cheetos that you eat at home. It's hard to eat Cheez-Its outside the house. That's all
That's good observation. That's right. When you come home and there's cheese dust all over you, there's no doubt what you were doing in the car on the way home.
That's right.
Absolutely.
It's not like you went to a strip club and
I don't think so. Although I'm sure that's been done.
Glitter and perfume. Yeah, no, Cheez-It. That's it. I'm not even going to go there. I had too many dirty jokes there. Okay, so here's a swan. This is a stone swan for you. I knew I had a stone swan in here somewhere. You can see the poppy field, and the swan needs a bath. It's not too white anymore. I guess after all those poppies, it just doesn't care. It rolls around and.
Just a happy creature. The happy creature.
So yeah. So we go from swans to chickens. So this comes from this is for people who raise chickens in their yard. This is a big thing. I know, John, you live in North Welton. Do they allow you to raise chickens in your yard?
I'm not certain of that, to be honest with you. I'm not certain. I really don't know.
Karen, how about in your neck of the woods?
No way, Jose.
Yeah, now you would think Brecksville, where I live, would not allow it, but if you go on Riverview, there's a right near my house, there's a big house that has a chicken coop in the front yard, not even in the backyard, in the front yard, with chickens running around. So this is for them. This is called the chicken orb. Hot new thing for chicken farmers, the chicken orb. It's a sphere made of metallic wire that allows chickens to move around and forage freely while preventing them from jumping onto flower beds or going out into the road, I guess, I don't know, where they're not supposed to go. So the chicken orb, that's what it's called. Looks like a weird sport, John, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. In fact, I'll have to look into this a little bit more in detail after the show, and maybe it might show up as one of our weird sports in the future.
There you go. Well, if you raise something other than chickens, for example, if you raise ostriches like they do in Australia, some ostrich farmers down there, particularly the female ones, they said that not only is it good for ostriches, but you can also put your teenage kids or your husband in them, and they won't go wandering off either. So now, I went to the website and they have a frequently asked questions page. So one of the questions was, does this mean if I have a chicken in here, does it mean it can be free range but not cage free? I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, there's a nuance there, obviously, right?
Yeah, one of those logic questions we used to flunk in logic class, John.
Yeah.
The other one is, does the orb replace my coop? And they said no. It's a very useful accessory, but the chicken will still need a coop for a few reasons. And this is the one I like the best. Chickens need dust to bathe in. That's the funny thing they do when flapping around in the dirt. It's actually a really healthy habit. Flopping around in the dirt is a healthy habit. This is why Jose Ramirez is in such good shape. That's a joke for the Guardians fans out there.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, that's a good one.
But that
he's always playing with dirt on his uniform for sure.
There you go. That's right. Yeah.
That means chickens are really, really dirty.
They are apparently so. Yeah. They said the other thing they said was that chickens like to lay their eggs in private. Another thing I did not know. I don't think I'd want to have spectators around if I had to lay an egg. But just think if a chicken's running around in this thing all day long, a hen, and then goes to lay an egg, it could be a scrambled egg inside of
Oh,
new innovation, John. Maybe we could get into this business.
hey, from those kind of thoughts, come great inventions, Paul. So we'll have to look into that.
Speaking of great inventions, I have one more, and then we'll get to sports right here. So this is for my friends in Texas. The world's cheapest fully functional electric double cabin truck. The cheapest comes from China, a company called Xian Manjia, and you can order it online. Let me show you a picture of it. So that is the cheapest electric truck. It's got 4 doors. It's got a bed in the back. Sells for $3,000. You buy it from Alibaba, and they'll deliver it to your door in 2 weeks. Alibaba is the Amazon of China. It's so cheap.
$3,000 or $30,000?
That's all it costs. $3,000. I'm not sure what the shipping is, but the car, the electric,
it's economical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ford is looking into it. If Ford sells it, it'll be called the $50. But look at this. This is not a truck. This is a Texas golf cart. I think Texans would go nuts for this because they love their pickup trucks. It's got those little tires. It's about the size of an electric golf cart, only more massive, which is the reason why Texans like their big pickup truck. I think this would be perfect. $3,000. I mean, you can't fill up a pickup for that. So, I think this would be, Mark, if you're listening down there, I know you're a golfer. This could be the perfect thing for you to be tooling around down in Austin. And on that note, my horn that doesn't work, we will move on to What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo. Every week, when we finish up with our great weird stories from the past week, we move on to the sports segment, just like any other legitimate newscast. And every week I ask our sports guy, John DiNallo, my old buddy from college, fraternity brother, knows more about sports than anybody I know, and trivia and all that other good stuff. So I said, John, find us a good sport that fits in the theme of real sports, sometimes strange, always funny. And John always manages to pull it at the very last minute. He comes trucking in with that sports story and a couple of really great photos. And wait till you hear the sport that John has this week. John, what do you got for us?
Oh, Paul and Karen, thanks for the big introduction, Paul. Appreciate that very much. Thanks. And I think the sport this week really does meet the criteria that we have for weird and unusual and strange sports. But our sport this week is volcano surfing.
What?
Volcano surfing, Karen. And yes, you heard this correctly. The sport is volcano surfing. And in some circles, you can also call it volcano boarding because it involves 2 things, a volcano and a board. Let me explain.
Oh my God.
Volcano surfers carry a long flat board made of either plywood or metal to the top of a volcano, and then they either stand on it like a surfer, or as this gentleman's doing, sit on it like someone who realizes how dangerous it is and slides down the lava ash to the bottom. Now, it's believed, and as for the origin, it is believed to have originated in Hawaii 2,000 years ago when it was called he-hula, or sled surfing, and the sled was called a papahula. So there's obviously some big time history to this if we take it back 2,000 years ago. Now, this sport is so dangerous that British missionaries banned it in Hawaii in 1825. However, it is popular today on the Cerro Negro volcano in Nicaragua, and volcano surfing is also practiced on Mount Yasur in the Pacific archipelago of Vanuatu and also on Mount Bromo in Indonesia. So we have 3 specific locations where people engage in this sport.
Wow. Yeah. I put up some pictures for those of you who are listening. The volcano is extremely tall, and this is nothing like skiing. This is pretty much straight downhill on volcanic ash. So there's smoke behind these
Yeah.
people as they're going down.
Yeah, it's
it-
amazing. It's an amazingly weird sport, Paul and Karen and audience.
Yeah.
Now, what all could go wrong while volcano surfing? Let me count the ways. You can fall off the board
Oh, of course. Yeah.
and get cut severely by the rocks and raw volcanic ash on the slope. You can breathe in poisonous gases, or you could contract histoplasmosis from the fungus growing on the lava rock.
Oh,
Ugh.
what
And
fun.
you can, wait a minute, and you can even be hit by, imagine this, flying molten lava, because many of the best volcanoes that the surfers use are still very active.
Look
Now,
at the view. It's a nice view.
Yeah.
But look at behind him. There's rocks spewing all over the place behind him. And in front of him, look at this board. His board is covered with volcanic rocks.
uh,
It looks
wow.
like a toboggan.
yeah,
It does look like a toboggan.
right,
Ken. That's a
yeah.
good observation. I'm gonna. I mean, he's got some big boots on. I have a feeling you're gonna explain to us what the boots are for. He has
Sure.
goggles, so I'll give him credit for that. But
right,
wow.
right. So he has so he has some sense about him. But to go to the more recent times, modern volcano surfing was invented by National Geographic Channel adventurer and journalist Zoltan Istvan. And
yeah.
Istvan is credited with founding the modern sport in the year 2002. Now, Istvan created 2 categories of volcano surfing. The first one is surfing down an active volcano where immediate dangers come from flying molten lava and lethal gases, as we described before, or can also consist of surfing down an inactive volcano where no immediate danger is present. I mean, if I was going to do this sport, which I wouldn't in either case, I'm sure I would do the one with the inactive volcano.
Oh, of course.
It's a lot safer, obviously. Now, as Paul alluded to earlier, in both categories, volcano surfers, they wear helmets, goggles, gloves, long sleeve shirts and pants, or thick overalls to prevent cuts and abrasions. And that includes, on the long climb to the top, there are no ski lifts in volcano surfing. So these individuals, as you see here, they're trucking up the volcano by foot. And once they get to the summit, they're in a position where they can start to surf down the volcano. Now,
Look at that. There's not even a path here. They're just kind of climbing volcanic rocks to get up to the top with the
exactly
board
right.
on their back.
That's exactly right, Paul. Now, once at the top, the riders sit on the board and use their feet as brakes to control their speed. The key to a good ride is to keep the board straight and centered and to lean back to maintain balance. Now, some very intrepid riders will prefer to lie down on the board, while others prefer to sit or to stand.
This guy here. Look at this guy standing over here.
He's standing. That's exactly right, Paul. Intermediate to advanced volcano surfers use snowboarding type boards to descend the slopes while standing, and some of them actually, when they're in process of going down the volcano, they're gonna conduct tricks. They'll conduct magic tricks.
This is it. If the Olympics are ever in Honolulu, they'll add this sport. They'll add this sport. Crazy people doing backflips on their snowboards going down a volcanic hill.
That's exactly right, Paul.
Got it.
So here's a statistic for you. On steep slopes, the top volcano surfers in the world, they will reach speeds over 60 miles per hour.
60 miles an hour going downhill with your
That's
butt.
obviously a rush and a thrill, right? I mean, on the
Yeah.
dangerous side, right? But it's obviously, I'm sure it's an adrenaline rush there.
Oh my God. And it's not just to a sport that's attractive to stupid men. Here's a picture of a lady going down the hill.
Whoa.
She is. That's exactly right.
I have one. Oh, look at I think she's at the top right now. I don't think she'd be smiling like that at the bottom.
No, she's about to make her descent, I think, in a few minutes from this. So,
No kidding. And then for date night, they even go. There's a happy couple right here. Now they're kind of dusty. It looks like they may have made it to the bottom. I don't know. And that's not a sexual term, making it to the bottom, by the way.
So, in closing, volcano surfing, it is an extreme sport that is far more dangerous than regular surfing, although at least there's no sharks. Just remember, when you get to the top of the volcano, make certain that you slide down the outside and not the inside.
Oh.
I would write that on my hand just to make sure that.
Oh, yeah, I have to offer a disclaimer to everyone so that they're educated about what to do and how to go about doing it. But
Wow.
there you go.
Volcano surfing down a live volcano. You would think that you've heard everything, and then John comes up with surfing down a live volcano. John, what a great sport. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Photos. Oh my God. Scary.
Are you guys going volcano surfing this weekend?
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, Karen.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I noticed that there's something similar to volcano surfing coming up this weekend. And I know for a fact that John has been training for it. It's not volcano. I think it's West 25th Street surfing. Which is a main drag down in downtown Cleveland. And John has been practicing. Now, he's been doing it incognito. That means in disguise. And I have a photo. Somebody who knows him happened to pick up a photo. Might have been your lovely wife, John. But here's a photo of John in disguise going down a hill on a skateboard. I don't think I've ever seen John on a skateboard, but the big event coming up this weekend, and there he is. Looks like one of the Blues Brothers on a skateboard.
Good disguise.
There's a striking resemblance, isn't there?
Yeah, quite a result. It looks just like you. Maybe stretched a little in one direction. Anyways, all right, John, what in the world of sports? Volcano surfing, only here on What in the World. Thank you, John, again. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, great. Been with our show before. You know that when sports is over, that means it's time for everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the Co-host. I want to get right to it. Similar to the stories are similar to the ones we've been talking about all day, except for all hour, except for one thing. Those stories were all real. These may be real. They may be a bluff. It's up to you, Karen and John, to figure out which ones are real or which ones are bluff. Gambling is allowed, so place your bets. John and Karen, hands on your buzzer. Let's get right to story number one. Our theme is animals this week. It seems like every city has at least one dog park where the owners can take their dogs to play. But what about other pets? A park in Scotland now has a reputation for being the world's first snake park. It got that honor after a local man began bringing his 20 pet snakes to the park to sun themselves on rocks and slither around in the grass. People who were in the park with their children said the snakes were under control and they felt perfectly safe, even when the real boas crawled up their legs and did their impressions of feather boas. The man never brings his snakes if there are other pets in the park, but spoil sports are already complaining to the police and putting up "no snakes in the grass" signs. Okay, so a park in Scotland that caters to snakes. Real or bluff? What do you say, Karen?
I'm hoping it's a bluff. I mean, and he's got 20 snakes and he brings, I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Okay, Karen says 20 snakes in a park is a bluff. I think I saw that movie. 20...
or snakes in a plane, or snakes on a plane. Either one of those.
Yeah.
Right?
Snakes in the park, real or a bluff?
I'm going to say this one is going to be real. And my only concern on this is, do snakes, are they able to live in Scotland, given how far north they are? I say how far north
Oh.
the country is, right? Because snakes are typically found in tropical areas. I mean, of course, snakes are found here in Ohio in the Midwest. I understand all that. But
Right.
I'm on a limb on this one, so to speak, and I'm going to say that it's a real story.
Maybe a little nip of moment they go to the park. It's could be anyway. So John says that's a real story, and Karen says it's a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, "Way to go, John! That's a real story."
Whoa.
Wait,
Very
you did
good.
say it was a real story, right? But your concern is that the snakes would get cold. That's right.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm happy I'm getting off on a winning note, not your Karen necessarily, but
Okay.
I'm
All
just
right.
gonna get the first one right.
Great. Okay. Scores 1-0 on John's side. Let's get ready for another animal story. Story number 2. One of the most famous scenes in the movie Animal House is during the Delta House toga party, when Bluto yells, "Gator!" and everyone gets on the floor on their backs and shakes their legs in the air. A college fraternity in Connecticut decided to do the gator, but they didn't get thrown off campus. Instead, they set a world record for the world's longest gator dance. To make it easy to measure, they lined up students in a spiral around the school's quarter-mile track. When they got to 64 loops, they played Shout by Otis Day. Someone yelled Gator, and they set a record with a 16-mile-long gator dance. While they received no college credit, the fraternity raised $8,000 for a nearby reptile rehabilitation center. Okay, so the world's longest gator dance by a fraternity in Connecticut. Real or bluff? What do you say, John, my fraternity buddy?
Paul, I was buying into it until you got to the idea or the information point that it was 16 miles long. Like to me, that's almost incredible to believe. So I'm going to say it's false. I'm going to say it's
Okay. I don't know. I think we could round up that many people, but John says it's a bluff. Karen, how about you?
I'm hoping it's a bluff.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
hoping that you are that creative in writing this story.
Oh, wow. I'll pat myself on the back here, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's check with the judges. Both Karen and John said it's a bluff. Check with the judges. Judges say, congratulations, both of you. That is a bluff.
All right. Okay. Karen gets on the board. All right.
16 miles.
Got a
I don't
point.
know. I guess I should have made it shorter. Okay. All right. So, let's check the scoreboard. And John is still ahead 2-1, but everybody knows points are doubled in round number 3. So Karen could come from behind, just like one of those racehorses in the Kentucky Derby, and win. Let's see if she can do
He's
it.
comparing me to a horse?
I think in a good way, Karen. I think in a good way.
Oh, okay.
Let's get our plug in for the Dallas Wings, to a flying horse.
Okay.
The Dallas Wings, one of everybody's our favorite WNBA team, by
Yes,
the way.
they are. Yep.
Okay, so story number 3. The world's most expensive coffee beans used to be the ones eaten and then pooped out undigested by Indonesian civet cats. But that record was broken recently in Brazil when a coffee farmer noticed that his best beans were being eaten and pooped out by a flock of rare, large black Brazilian wild turkeys. Being a smart farmer, he collected the beans, washed off the poop, and began selling them as Brazilian wild turkey coffee. Coffee tasters gave it their highest rating, and the coffee was recently selling for 4 times as much per pound as the civet coffee, making it the world's most expensive beans. If you order it at the Brazilian Starbucks, make sure you get it with a double shot of gravy. Okay, so farmer in Brazil catches wild turkeys eating his coffee beans and pooping them out, and he bags them up and sells them, and it becomes the world's most expensive coffee. Real or bluff? What do you say, Karen?
Well, I want to say it's a bluff, but I'm going to go with real because it is so outrageously stupid.
Oh, okay. All right, there you go. That's a common logic used by players in on Bluff the Call.
Yeah.
So Karen says that it's a real story. John, how about you?
We haven't had a story like this in a while. And I think this is in the category of it's terribly gross. And so I'm going to pray that it's not real, and I'm going to pray that it's a bluff.
Okay, so John says it's a bluff. Karen says John says it's too weird to be real. Karen says it's so weird it must be real. Let's follow that logic right there. Let's
Sure.
check with the judges, and the judges somehow figured that out and said, "Congratulations, Karen. That is a real story."
Oh my gosh! All right, Karen.
How
Wait.
about
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
These wild turkeys actually have a name. They're rare. They're only in Brazil, and they happen to like the best beans. And that the farmer, smart guy, entrepreneur, he picked them up, he washed them off, started selling them, and 4 times as much. Civet coffee is like $100 a pound. So we're talking like $400 some a pound. This stuff is unbelievable.
Wow.
I'm glad I can't afford that because I don't want to drink it.
Yeah, no kidding.
We won't be doing any taste test on what in the world. Of
You're
that
right.
coffee. All right. Well, if you look at the time just flew by here. We're at the end of another episode of everybody's favorite podcast, What in the World. I'm your host, Paul Seaburn. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I want to thank our co-host and media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, Karen Hale. Thank you for everything you do for our show and for all the podcasts at newclevelandradio.net. Please go visit them, download the podcast. They're all free. When you do that, please like us, follow us, do all those things, especially on YouTube. Don't forget about YouTube because you get to see all the photos. And as always, I want to thank my old friend John DiNallo. Thanks for everything you do with What in the World of Sports, being our color commentator and all around good guy. So, John, thank you.
Oh, thanks, Paul. Thanks a lot. It was a lot of fun again, as it always is.
And that's right. And as always, I want to thank all of our listeners, John, the Bryans and the Mikes and the Bobs and the Lindas and the Simons and all you guys out there.
And
Thank
the
you
Donnas.
and the Donnas and the Annettes and the Riches and all those people who are forced under duress to watch the show.
Exactly. Well, have a good
Anyway,
week, guys.